Sometimes life throws us into the most unexpected situations. Let me tell you about Jacob. He wasn't just any wolf dog, he was huge, with a presence so intense that people instantly assumed he was dangerous. To most, he was just a big, scary animal who couldn't possibly live peacefully with others. But Jacob's story turned out to be so much more than what anyone expected. Jacob's early days weren't easy. Imagine being born into a world where nobody really cares about you. He was taken in by a breeder who had no heart, no compassion. This person didn't see Jacob as a living being, but as something to profit from. Jacob was hurt, not just physically, but emotionally too. You could say he was broken inside, carrying scars that couldn't be seen on the surface. By the time Jacob made it to a sanctuary, he wasn't just scared, he was terrified. He didn't even want to step out of the car when he arrived. Every little noise made him panic. If you've ever seen an animal that's been through too much, you know the look, the way they shrink into themselves, like the world is out to get them. That was Jacob. His fear came out as low growls and nervous pacing. He wasn't trying to be aggressive, he just didn't know how to trust anyone. Think about it. How do you rebuild trust when life has done nothing but let you down? Would you open up to people right away? Probably not, right? Jacob didn't either. The sanctuary staff tried everything. They offered food, played with toys, tried to talk to him softly. But Jacob kept his distance. He stayed alone, not just physically but emotionally too. It's like he was saying, I can't risk letting anyone in again. And you know what? The sanctuary understood that. They didn't push him. They let him take his time. But then came Ella. Ella was just a kid, the daughter of the sanctuary's owner. She didn't try to force anything. She would just sit quietly near Jacob, like she was saying, hey, I'm here if you want to come closer. Sometimes she'd bring treats, but she never expected anything in return. Slowly, Jacob started to notice her. He'd glance her way, take a cautious step closer, and one day, he finally took food straight from her hand. Can you imagine how big that moment was? After everything Jacob had been through, he was finally showing a little bit of trust. But this was just the beginning. One day, the sanctuary got a call. It was about Jacob's brother, Warden. He'd been through the same horrible situation, but ended up in a different place. Warden needed help, too, and they asked if the sanctuary could take him in. When Warden arrived, something incredible happened. Jacob, who'd always kept his guard up, seemed to know right away who Warden was. He ran to the fence, pawing at the ground and whining. He stayed there all night, waiting. The next morning, they let Warden into Jacob's area. Watching them reunite was one of those moments that just stops you in your tracks. They ran to each other, sniffing, nuzzling, and making these soft, happy sounds. It wasn't just a reunion. It was like Jacob realized he wasn't alone anymore. For the first time, he had someone who truly understood what he'd been through. That moment changed everything for Jacob. Knowing he had his brother by his side made him braver. He started playing with the other wolf dogs at the sanctuary. He stopped flinching when humans came near. You could see it in his eyes. He was starting to believe that not everyone wanted to hurt him. Have you ever had a moment like that? A moment where you realized you weren't as alone as you thought? That's what it was like for Jacob. Having Warden there was the reminder he needed that life could be good again. Over time, Jacob's confidence grew. He became part of the pack, running and playing like he was finally free of the chains his past had put on him. He even started to trust the sanctuary staff more. It wasn't just about surviving anymore. He was really living. And all it took was patience, love, and the bond he shared with his brother. This story is more than just about a wolf dog finding happiness. It's a reminder of what's possible when we give others a chance. Think about how many people or animals are out there carrying invisible scars, afraid to trust again. What if we gave them the time and kindness they need to heal? What if we didn't give up on them, even when it felt like they might never let us in? Jacob's story shows us that healing takes time. It takes patience. And most of all, it takes love. Even when it feels like all hope is gone, there's always a chance for a fresh start. We just have to believe in it. If Jacob's story moved you, take a moment to share it with someone. You never know who might need to hear that there's still hope, no matter how tough things get. And if you want to hear more stories like this, hit that subscribe button. There's so much we can learn from stories like Jacob's about kindness, patience, and the incredible power of love.